Console gaming has come on leaps and bounds. We've got hardware capable of 4K as standard. Companies are playing around with VR, blurring the lines between reality and that girl Tiffany you really wanna. Now, when Nintendo announced last year that they were bringing out the original entertainment system, I got excited. But then when they announced that they were bringing out the Super Nintendo Entertainment System with all that 16-bit architecture gloriness, I got really excited. I'm smiling, is that? Now, one thing to note immediately off the bat, the UK version of this does not come with a plug adapter. That's actually a smart move on Nintendo's front. If you're buying this, you've probably got a couple of other gadgets lying around with about 15 power bricks. I've got a drawer of them inside my office. So it's got some Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Classic Mini. 20+1 games. Now the 20+1, there's a reason for that. 20+1 games. So initially, you will have access to 20 games. The +1, you have to unlock. And in fact, that game was never even released on the original Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It was never released. This is new with the Mini SNES. And is actually Star Fox 2. Now, to unlock this game, all you've got to do is complete the first level of the original Star Fox game, and this console will give you access to the second one. I think that's a bit of a treat. I loved Star Fox when I was playing the original SNES, and I'm looking forward to beasting out some levels on Star Fox 2, seeing what that's all about. Let's have a look inside. Peeling this bad boy open. So you've got your manual, 2 controllers. They look exactly the same and feel exactly the same as you would expect with the original controllers. Got one power cable, HDMI cable, and then the console itself. Look at the size of this thing! Look at the size of this thing! It's tiny. Oh my word. Look at it. Look at it! Look! But it looks exactly the same. In fact, hold on. Let me just... There it is. That thing's ridiculous. That thing is tiny. It looks exactly the same. I mean, this one is a little bit faded. I've probably had this for about 20 odd years. It's gone a bit colour. The colour's gone a bit off, I'm not gonna lie. But it looks exactly the same. You've got a functioning power on off switch. You've got a functioning reset button, which I would presume takes you to the main menu. So the console itself is pretty straightforward. You've got HDMI out port, you've got a DC power port in. Simple. All of the games are stored internally, meaning that the cartridge inlet doesn't work, unfortunately. However, it does look like it's a different plastic, it just doesn't flop open like the old one. The eject button doesn't work. This kind of makes sense. But you do have a functioning power on off button along with a reset button, which I would presume takes you to the main menu. On the front, you've got what looks like the old school joypad inputs. However, to actually input the joypads, you actually have to pull this fascia out and down, and you'll actually have access to the 2 joypad inputs there. Now, one thing people complained about with respect to the original console was the length of the cables with respect to the joypads. Not too sure if Nintendo addressed this or not. Let's have a little look. It's not the longest in the world. In fact, what's that? Maybe 1.5 meters? I don't know. I've actually got an original controller here. And the cable is substantially longer than the new cables. I would maybe recommend getting a longer HDMI cable so you can leave the console just maybe in between you and the TV. Just throwing ideas out there. Don't know what Nintendo were thinking. Nintendo, what were you thinking? I don't know what to say. There's only one thing to do, and that is to get this thing set up, boot it up, and see what it's about.